This was the first activity I did in English course. It was on Thursday, May 4, 2023. It was a brief description of myself, in which I wore my age, where I live, what I like to the most, my favorite food, some of my charities, and also what I was wearing that day. In this activity, I learned some basic things about English, and it was somewhat easy for me to describe myself. However, there were many words that I didn't know how to write in English, so I turned to the teacher and my classmate Fernando for help. This was one of the most beautiful jobs I did, because in it I talked about my mother, who is the most important woman in my life. When I did this activity, I felt very happy, but I also felt nervous because I had to present it in English, and I was very embarrassed to do it in front of my classmates. In the activity, I remember very well that what was most difficult for me was reading the text in front of my classmates, because to begin with, I couldn't pronounce the words well. There were some that I had never heard how they were pronounced, and it was even more difficult, and I was also embarrassed that others would listen to read it. How tall I had those difficulties. I really liked the activity because I was able to overcome that fear I had already in English, and I gave me more confidence because we all did it, each in our how way would we treat. My dad is the most important man in my life, and that is why I chose him for the exercise, which consisted of describing the activities he did from the time he got up until he went to sleep. I only took a fig for references because sometimes he really varies the things he does. It was a nice activity because I described some activities that my dad does, and I also had to read them, but now I did it way more confident. That does not mean that I did not have nervous, because I did have many, but I feel that it became easier for me to do it. I really liked the activities because I made a video explaining the activities I do in my day, from the moment I get up until I go to sleep. I learned pronunciation of various words and practice writing in English. With this type of exercise, at that time I was very nervous, but why the passage of time and be constantly performing, I have lost my nerve a little. This last description was intended to reinforce the lesson learning in the two previous descriptions and about how with the intention of improving pronunciation. I really like doing this type of activities because if there is a word that I pronounce wrong, the teacher always corrects me and that helps improving my pronunciation. The activities was carried out in the teams and menu had the topic of murals. How soon as we knew that we were going to have that one, we start researching of the internet or why some people from the community where we live. Fortunately, one of my teammates lives in Etla, and this math or research acers Saint Etla is a place where they do not let this tradition go uninitiated. This was a very nice activity which I really enjoy because we had stuck a piece of paper on our back and the other classmates growth use a word that they thought about use. I had a lot of fun. We laughed, we reflect, we expressed comments that we rarely give to anyone else. It was an exercise that I enjoy and that I will until repeat again. This activity was one of the last in the sixth semester. It consisted of presenting a story that will catch our attention. Personally, I chose the story about Pulgarcita because it catch my attention to know that despite the bad times we might have, the sun always rises for everything. I confess that presenting my story in person and in front of all my classmates made me very nervous. I felt that I was not going to read well and pronounce the words correctly. However, I thank my classmates was super my when I didn't know how to say a word. It was a very nice experience. Teacher, thank you for all the experiences you gave us every semester that we had the opportunity to learning with you. She is an excellent English teacher. I thank you for your patience and dedication. Something that I definitely talk away with me is that little by little I learning to lose my fear of speaking in English. In front of my classmates, they were experiences that I not had but that helped a lot in my training.